Hi everyone, in math this week we're working on word problems. Now you'll remember this year we've spent some time on word problems reading sentences that had numbers in them and decoding them so that we could figure out what numbers are important and what operations. So what are we doing? Are we doing adding, subtracting, multiplying? And now that we've practiced multiplying, division, kind of identifying the words that are important, that are cue words to help us know that that's the operation we're using. So as we're working on our math problems, our example math problems, we'll come back to this page to kind of help us out if we need it. So let's look at this first problem here. Michael and Logan baked cookies over the weekend at their homes. Logan used 265 chocolate chips. Michael needed 382 chocolate chips to bake 5 dozen large cookies. What is the sum of the chocolate chips that Logan and Michael used? First of all, what is it that we're looking for? Usually near the end, it gives us a clue what they're asking for us. Also, remember, question marks are our friends. They give us a hint that, hey, that's what they're asking us to solve here. So this last sentence helps us. What is the sum of the chocolate chips that Logan and Michael used? So we're looking for the chocolate chips, finding the chocolate chips, and it says the word sum is our clue. So what does sum mean again? We didn't see any of these words in here. We saw the sum, and that means we know it's an adding question. That means how many. So how many chocolate chips did Logan and Michael use? So let's look at our numbers here. What's our important numbers? So we have 265 chocolate chips Logan used. Michael needed, and he used 382 chocolate chips. And there's the number 5 dozen large cookies. This, I don't think, is important information. That's cool that he made 5 dozen large cookies, but we need to know about the chocolate chips. That number 5 doesn't help us solve this problem. So we have our two numbers. Logan used 265 chocolate chips, and Michael used 382, and it's asking for the sum, so we need to add it together. So I'm just going to line up my place values using the traditional algorithm method. And if it helps, you can split up your place values, your ones, tens, and hundreds, and if you're using thousands, do that too. 5 plus 2 is 7. 6 plus 8, I know I'm 2 away from 10, and another 4 is 14. So 6 plus 8 is 14. I don't put the 1 here, I got to carry over the 1. 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. So, I'm going to write it out in a sentence. Michael and Logan used 647 chocolate chips. Let's look at another problem. Noah went outside and counted 543 yellow dandelions at the park earlier this week. You know, dandelions, like the yellow weed flower? Pierce noticed the grass at the park was getting long, so he decided to use his lawnmower and cut some of the grass. The next time Noah went to the park, he noticed that some dandelions were cut and counted them again. Now there were 362 dandelions. What is the difference of dandelions? First of all, what is the question asking us? Well, it's asking us what the difference of dandelions are from before it got cut and after it got cut. So, what does that mean? Well, first of all, we can always find the question by looking for question mark. It's not always there, but at the end of this question, there's a question mark. So it's asking what the difference of dandelions is before it got cut and after it got cut. Now, what key word can we pick out of this paragraph to help us solve the question? That's right, difference. And if you weren't sure, we could go to our document and we can look at some words that might help us. Oh, right away, I see the word difference here, and that's for subtraction. If I see the word difference, I know that it's going to be a subtraction question. So, what are the important numbers now? Take a look. You can pause it if you want. Pause the video for a second if you would like. So yeah, 543 yellow dandelions were in the park that Noah counted originally. And then after Pierce came and cut the grass, or part of the grass, there were only 362 dandelions. And it's asking for the difference of the number of dandelions. So we know it's a subtraction question because we see difference in what the question's asking. So 3 subtract 2, we're using our place values if that helps you. So I'm going to separate my 1s and my 10s and my 100s. 3 subtract 2, the bigger number is on top, so that works. 3 subtract 2 is 1. 4 subtract 6, we can't do that, so we're going to have to go to our neighbor and say, hey neighbor, can I borrow a number? And he's going to say, of course. So he's going to turn into a 4, and he's going to pass us 100. So that's going to be 110 here, so it's going to turn into 14. So 14 subtract 6 is 8. Now we're going to go back to our hundreds place value. 4 subtract 3 is 1. So our number is 181. So that means Pierce cut 181 dandelions. I'm just going to write it in a sentence. I'll just review this quickly just because multiplication and division is a newer concept for us. So if you see the word product, that's asking what's the answer for the multiplication. How many are there? Multiply, if you see the word multiply, times, double, groups of, equal groups, twice, each. Those are good indicators if you see that in the sentence or in the paragraph that it's a multiplication question. If you see these words in your question, a good chance is it's a division question. So if you see the word quotient, split, divide, cut, something's been cut, they ask you to share equally, put it into groups, it goes into average. All these words are good indicators, good keywords that we're going to need the operation of division. Okay, another question. Last week, Dorion had 4 green apples on his apple tree. When he looked today, he now has 5 times as many green apples and 2 red apples that have grown on the tree. How many green apples are there now on his tree? So we got to figure out what's the question asking us to solve. So yeah, that's right. It's asking us here at the end, as you can see. Got our question mark here, so good indicator, and then it says there's a how, that's a good question word. How many green apples specifically, are now on his tree? So it's asking us for how many green apples are on the tree. Let's look through this again. Last week, Dorion had green apples. So I have this, should be the other way around. There should be 4 green apples. But 4 green apples. So we know he had 4 green apples on his tree last week. When he looked today, he now has 5 times as many green apples. Also, there's green apples again. 5 times as many green apples. And 2 red apples. Do we need to underline the red apples? The 2 red apples? What is the question asking us? How many green apples are there on his tree? So the 2 red apples, that's not important. We don't need to worry about that information. But it says 5 times as many green apples. What word in here is a good, or even in this whole paragraph, are good indicators to tell us what kind of question this is? Yeah, times. 5 times as many. And there's also, yeah, that's our main word there. 5 times as many green apples. So we had 4 apples to start. And what was our word? Times. What does that tell us again? Oh, that tells us this is probably a multiplication question. So we have to multiply it. So 4 times 5. Because it has 5 times as many apples now. 4 times 5. And that'll give us how many green apples there are now on the tree. Because there was 4 to start, and now there's 5 times as many. And now, so I can make some equal groups. I can do an array. Maybe I'm adding up. Maybe I'm at the point where my mental math strategy, I just know it. 4 times 5 is 20. So there are 20 green apples on Dorion's tree. Samantha is an excellent cook and cut up a large carrot, you know, like those jumbo carrots, into 12 carrot sticks, 12 sticks. She wants to split the carrot sticks with Maggie and CJ equally. How many does each person get? So, what are some key words in this sentence here, in this paragraph? Let's take a look. What is an important word? Well, first of all, we see the question here. It's going to be asking us how many does each person get? How many carrots does each person get? But it says, I see the word split, to split it up. And also another word that helps us is equally. Asks us to equally split. So there are 12, and let's just double check here. Yeah, division. Split, to split something up equally or share them equally. So it's going to be a division question. So we have, how many in total do we start with? Yeah, that's right. We got 12 sticks, 12 carrot sticks. And we're sharing them equally amongst all the people who are there. Yeah, CJ is here, Maggie, and of course Sam. So we have to divide it. And how many people are there? Yeah, 3. So remember, there's a couple ways to do this. So there's our 12 carrots. We can divide it into groups of 3, circle groups of 3. So if we go, whoops, let's try this again. There's a group of 3, circle a group of 3, dividing it by 3. We're going to have the answer of 4. 12 divided by 3 equals 4. So each student gets 4 carrots. So this doesn't represent, again, if we do this strategy, that they each get 3 carrots. No, it broke it up. 12 divided by 3, we made groups of 3, and that gave us 4. We know they each get 4 carrots. And if we look at it the other way, then we can see it, all 3 of them, Maggie, CJ, Sam, they each get 4 carrots. They each have the same amount of carrots. It's been split up equally. They each get 4. So I'll post these questions, but you can also refer to this video. So I'll just read them out. A. Gage and Dorion both have very large collections of model cars. Together, they have 145 red cars, 646 blue cars, and 243 green cars. How many blue cars and green cars do Gage and Dorion have altogether? So what's the question? And what information is important? What numbers are not important? And what operation do we need to use? Multiplication, addition, subtraction, division, based on the words that help us as a clue to figure it out. So you might need to refer back to this page up here. What words are important? Anyways, I'm going to keep going on. You can just pause the video as you're going on and doing this, or you can just refer to the email or on Teams with all these questions written down. As you're doing this, see how this is question A? You might just want to, on your piece of loose leaf, write question A, and then write show your work. Don't feel the need, please do not, unless you really want to, don't write out all of this. Do not feel the need, you need to write this all out, all of this, unless you really want to and you have lots of time and you would like to do that, you can write it all out, but just write question A, and then write your answers underneath. Show your work, what numbers are important in your operations. I just have 1 more minute left that I can max video record, so I'm just going to go through these questions quickly, and you can pause as you go and to read them, or it'll be written out in the email or on Teams. So this is B. So if you want, pause it and look at B. This is C. You can pause it and look at it. D, Sienna and Dante. E. F, this is question F. Question G. And last but not least, question H. So just pause at those questions, or check out Teams or Word, or your email to review those questions Remember, don't write down all the questions. Have a good day and see you later.